welcome to the Koalafied Gamer Guys podcast. I'm your host, Steve. With me, as always, is Neil. Happy 4th of July, Neil.
Happy 4th to you, Steve.
Even though it's the 6th of July.
Close enough. We won the World Cup, so
whatever we want.
From now on, it's America Day.
This is episode number 24, which is kind of like, the age that everyone stops caring about you.
That's my age, so that's very true. I can stand by that fact.
I almost just called you Doug. Neil understands.
Only.
Yeah, I know. Everyone wishes they could be a Doug.
Everyone would just sleep. There'd be peace. They just all stay on couches
the world
all
day. Would be a better place. So yeah, this is a gaming podcast. So we're gonna start as we always start, with this week in video game release history. This is a little bit of a milestone. It's our first Sega Saturn game that ever made the list. This week's game is Nights into Dreams, 1996, July 5th. Pretty crazy.
Long time ago.
Long time ago. Some would say 20 years ago almost. 19.
Yeah, 19. They're going to be 20 years next year. Some may say next year might be the 20th anniversary.
That's how years work. So you actually played this? I
played this game not on the Sega Saturn. It came.
I was going to say, did you have a Sega Saturn?
I played. My friend did, and I played it, but we didn't have this game, or they didn't have this game. It was always like Sonic or something like that. Or Sonic was on the Genesis, actually.
Sonic was on the Saturn.
Anything Sega had to have Sonic at some point.
Yes.
Yeah, so this game, as I was telling Steve before the podcast just a little bit, when this was like kind of the beginning of the new consoles a little bit, and in the span of a couple months, Mario 64 came out. As it was like June. I probably even have it right here. It was like June 23rd. Yeah, June 23rd, Mario 64 came out. Nights into Dream came out July 5th, and then Crash Bandicoot came out August 31st. And these were like the three games, like Nintendo, Sega, and Sony. Microsoft wasn't really around yet. And so these were the three, and these were supposed to be the three games that sold their systems. Obviously, Super Mario 64, like, set records, set standards, things like that. This was what, before this was all two-dimensional, right? It was all side-scrolling platformers.
Yeah.
They were trying to bring it into the 3D world. And they talk about how they were trying to do it, and three companies did it in three different ways. Super Mario 64 was obviously just completely three-dimensional in every sense of the word. Crash Bandicoot was kind of two-dimensional in two different ways. You were sometimes running at the screen, and sometimes you were just running side to side. And so they didn't totally do it, but there's an article about Naughty Dog, and they talk about when they saw Super Mario 64, they were just like, their minds were blown, and like, wow, this blows our game out of the water. And then Nights in the Dreams was pretty bad. It's cool, it's awesome, but it's basically
to put it nicely, it was pretty bad.
Well, alright, so Crash Bandicoot's a huge game. Super Mario 64 is a really huge game. Most people probably don't even beat it. They just play around in it a lot. This has like 5 levels. You can beat it in like half an hour.
Okay, that sounds fun.
And it's a typical arcade type game where it's not about the quantity but quantity with getting a high score. So you're supposed to do the same levels, you get ranked on them and stuff like that. And so the gameplay is essentially, it's a 2D platformer. Think of it like that, but almost like Flappy Bird kind, where you just go up and down, like you're never on the ground, you're always flying, and you have to go like through these rings and get these stars and you get these points. But it's not like you go from one end to the other end of the level. You have a certain amount of time, and you just do laps, getting as many points as you can. And the three-dimensional aspect is, at certain points of the stage, the whole screen will like turn. So it looks like you're going in a circle instead of just left and right. You can see how it doesn't sound very impressive when compared to Super Mario 64 and other games.
No, it really doesn't.
It doesn't at all, but it had like one of those like cult followings, because it's kind of, I don't know why, but it's like, I had fun playing it. I mean, when I played on the PS3, it was kind of fun, but I was just thinking the whole time, like, if this came out with those other two games, no wonder why it did horribly, because it could not compete. It was supposed to be right up with those two, and it just didn't do it. And it's also hard, because you have to, like, to unlock the last level, which is like a boss, there was like boss fights, which were kind of weird, and you had to get like I think C ranks in all of them, which is shockingly difficult. So it's one of those hard games to master, but you just kind of get bored with it before you even want to master it. But
I've seen like another one came out for like the Wii or something. There was another Nights.
very yeah, there was it was like a Knight's Christmas. Like they made like another one, and it was just for a Christmas level, and it was the same level. It was literally the same level, I think, with snow on it and Christmas music playing.
I'm gonna say I'm pretty sure that there's another one altogether.
Oh, you think so? All right. I mean, it would make more sense almost on the Wii with motion controls. It sounds like a game you'd pay like $3 for and let a little kid play it. Like, hey, go up and down. But it's just really weird.
There was you're talking about Christmas Nights on the Sega Saturn, and then there was Knight's Journey of Dreams, which came on the Wii.
Okay, so you were right.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a remake or is it a completely new game?
It's a sequel.
Oh, really? I didn't know that existed.
Yeah. Let me see how it was.
I was gonna say, check that out.
It averaged a 68% on what's his name, Metacritic. So
higher than I thought.
EGM gave it a 7.5. So the GameStop gave it a 7.5. So it wasn't awful apparently, but
I think it's a nostalgia thing. Mm-hmm. People love this game, even though when you break it down,
it sucks.
Yeah, it's hard to say it sucks because now you know what you're getting. When you know what you're getting, you can justify purchasing it more. It
sucks, Neil. You can say it.
But for some reason, I like it. Like I can. I don't know. I sometimes when I would randomly boot up the PS3, this was one of the games I would play. Like might play like Journey and this.
You're a weird guy. You know that, Neil?
It's a strangely fun game, as bad as it is, because it's just like you're trying to beat your own high score. So it's got that.
It's got that little addicting nook and cranny to it.
I feel like any game that they just put a leaderboard on, it gets a little bit more addicting. Not too much. Some people probably go crazy for it, but
I hate the leaderboards in Batman Arkham Knight, but I'll talk about that later.
Oh, I didn't know they were in that game.
There's so many leaderboards.
That seemed weird. Like Assassin's Creed 4, where you get the most money pirating, kill the most whales.
Yeah, that stuff. I don't care.
I don't either, but I totally was the world's #1 pirate for a whole day.
Because you had your PS4 early.
Doesn't matter. Still counted. I think I said this before, where I was the only one doing the main missions. Not the only one, but like a handful of people. So I felt like anything I rated the missions, because you could rate them afterwards, they just knew it was me. Like they were like, all right, there were like 10 copies of this game out. There's more than that. Like 100 copies of this game out. And someone's giving us 1 star. Who is this guy? Like,
fuck Neil. That guy sucks. Yeah, so that's Knights. If you have a Sega Saturn, pull it out. Apparently, you can also play it on the PS3, which I didn't know.
Yeah.
So that's good. I mean, take a trip down memory lane. See the nostalgia. All that other bullshit. So we got some big releases this week. Well, not really, but one that me and Neil are really excited about.
Basically one that so excited.
This is also, by the way, your what's his name? Your PlayStation Plus update for July. So, Rocket League comes out on the PS4. Also on the PS4, you're getting Styx Master of Shadows. So let's talk, and also Mousecraft, which is like a puzzle game, and Entwined. So 4 games on the PS4. So Rocket League, we're really excited about. We're gonna do a league. We're gonna do everything in that game.
Just everything you can do. This is one of those games where we basically cannot recommend it enough. That it is, first off, it's free.
Yes.
But if you had to pay money for it, pay some money for it, because it's so much fun.
It is so much fun.
I know we ranted about it before for so long, but I mean, I'm not against continuing to rant about it for how amazing it is.
Mm-hmm. It's good, man.
And
it's a fun game, and now especially, like, I'm really happy it's a PS Plus game. It's gonna get a really big player base, which is exactly what this game needs. So,
yeah, like that's like we were talking about that I was afraid this would be one of those games that's really great, but the lobbies kind of aren't huge except for a couple people. But since it's free, everyone's gonna play it at least once or twice, see how much fun it is, and then it's gonna stick around. And they're gonna get really cool leagues and all that fun stuff going. But I was hoping, I don't know if this is true yet or not, but because you know how there's gonna be more levels or stadiums, I thought there'd be like obstacles in some of the stadiums.
Yeah.
And I guess that's not the case.
So what's the difference in the stadiums? Nothing.
Just like kind of like a different soccer stadium in FIFA. It just looks different.
I thought there'd be obstacles too, like weird things about it.
Yeah, like I could be wrong. Maybe they were just showing like they weren't really showing that stuff, so it'd be kind of fun, a secret, or it's like a play mode that's not in a league. But I figured some levels would have like little traps where if you like ran over like a spike might go up and hit a car. I don't know, like stuff like that.
Yeah, I understand.
Or more power ups. Who knows? Maybe they're working on stuff like that, but. Either way, it's still worth it. Like, I played the beta, I think, for 5 hours straight. Because it's just, dude, it's so much fun. And it's like local play and online play, so you can do like 4-player co-op offline. Yeah. So it's one of the great party games because it's only like 3 buttons, so everyone can play it. It's a really intense game.
It's very easy to pick up and play.
It's easy to pick up and play, but it's not a simple game in the fact that like you get so into it.
You do,
and you get so upset like if you lose with like 5 seconds left.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, we're gonna have
most of the games that I played. I remember being very, very well matched. Like the matchmaking seems like it's very well done.
It's well, you pointed this out because I didn't even know this. That let's say a match starts and it's 3-on-3, and someone leaves. Instead of pausing the match and being down a man, a computer AI car will fill that spot and play for a little bit. And it's not like. When you know about it, it's noticeable. But like I said, I didn't even know that was the case. Like I thought it was just another player, so they don't get in the way and they're not terrible in any sense like that. So it's a way to keep the game moving, and they always replace them pretty quickly too. Like
yes,
it's very good matchmaking.
It's a well run game. It's a fun game. I'm sure a lot of people will be playing it.
Play it with us.
Play it with us. We'll be playing it. You guys know our titles, so.
Yeah, and we I forgot what I was going to say, but it was going to be something. It was going to be something really funny,
it's
Steve.
It's going to be something monumental.
Something huge.
It would have shot us up to the #1 gaming podcast.
That was it. It was like the secret. It was the secret to all of life. Just in an analogy of Rocket League, like blasting off like a rocket.
Let's blast off to the second game on our list here. Styx, Master of Shadows, also on the PS4 I mentioned earlier. It's like a third-person stealth game. So
and you're like a goblin, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
It's I'm trying to look up.
It looks interesting.
I'm trying to remember because, like I said, I heard about this game before. From what I've seen, it's like I think it's based off an old game. Like it's a game that came out a while ago and they brought it back.
It's a game based off of a game. Interesting.
Well, it's based off, I think, Orcs and Men, which is a type of... Isn't that like an RTS?
Orcs and Men. I don't
No. I don't know. But it's like... It's not an original game, but it's based off some world that already exists, I believe.
Is anything original anymore?
Never. And it's essentially... From what I mean, it's a typical stealth game from what I hear. It's like the stealth is really good. It's really interesting, but the second you break stealth, the combat sucks, you know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, typical, like, AI is great until they see you, then they act like idiots, and,
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, so it's one of those games, but it's supposed to be worth playing. I mean, I don't think this is a generally cheap game. I didn't think it was, like, a $10 game.
It's like $30 normally.
Yeah, so it's pretty huge. You're getting it for free.
On top of Rocket League, everyone.
On top of Rocket League. Rocket League's the real winner here, let me be clear. That's, like, the best game coming out in months, including the past couple months. Better than Bloodborne and Witcher and Batman. Rocket League covers it all.
It's not better than Bloodborne. Let's not get out of hand here.
Do you think it's better than The Witcher? Because you'd be wrong.
No, it is better than The Witcher. Sorry, is it very convoluted and dumb? Okay, no.
I saw another post on the Reddit today of just everyone saying how amazing the Bloody Baron's quest is, and I just keep thinking how much you hated it and didn't care at all.
I just wanted it to be over. I didn't give a shit what happened to his wife.
Which I like. I didn't like the Bloody.
Died.
I didn't like the Bloody Baron at all. Like I just was like, this guy's a douche. But everyone's like, oh, he's so like, he's like flawed and damaged. Like he's an abusive
Who
alcoholic
gives a
father.
fuck? The guy sucked, Neil. He
I
sucked.
agree. I did not like him at all. I liked the story. I thought it was a cool storyline, but I just didn't like the guy. But people like defending him. And I'm like, he's a pretty bad guy. Well, if you want to like him, you can go ahead and like him.
He's a bad character in a bad game, so I let him go. Uh, I'm just tough on The Witcher 3 because I didn't like it. So you got Styx Master of Shadows, which looks like it's worth a play. You have Mousecraft.
I gotta look this game up because I don't even know what this is.
I watched it. It's like a 2D puzzle platformer.
It sounds like someone was trying to make a Minecraft mod and it didn't work. It's called the cheesiest game ever, though, so I really like that.
I like that a lot, actually. I might play it just because of that.
Oh, that looks
cheesiest
weird.
game.
So it's just a 2D platformer?
2D
Kind of
puzzle
like,
platformer.
okay, let's get that puzzler in there. Oh, man.
How's it look? You enjoying it?
Is this tiger watching this dude? Oh, so it's like, oh, I see. I thought you'd be controlling the mouse, but you're building the level so they can get out or get to the next one or whatever.
Yes, it's a little bit of a mind fuck.
It's filled with puns, though.
I like that.
It was like when you Gouda buy it, like Gouda the cheese, and then
Yes.
the very next thing it says is just like, want the puns to stop, buy the game. So I like that. I like when they're all...
I mean, like, download it. See if you like it. You know, there's no reason not to. It's free.
Yeah.
It could be fun.
It looks like almost, yeah, it's just a puzzler. It looks good on the PC. It looks kind of weird. I guess you get to build your own levels too.
Mm-hmm. It's basically the next Super Mario.
Ooh, I'm liking this website build though in the background. Some web developer did a good job.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
as a web developer right there.
yeah, you know, as you're scrolling down, this mouse is like falling down this tube and it's like shaking and it's like falls on this cheese. Hey man, check out the Mousecraft site. That's the real
Mousecraft
game.
site, Game of the Year 2015. You're also getting Entwined. Mousecraft is also available, by the way, for everyone out there on your PS3 and your PS Vita. You're getting Entwined, which was the game at last E3 that they announced at the same time that they released at the same time as announced, where like you're controlling a bird and a fish. One's blue and one's orange, and like each one is like set to the sticks or something. I don't know. You know, what the
It was one of those games that you can see and be like, this is going to be really just one of those fun games like Trine or Flower, or it's going to be an absolute bore. And I think it was the latter.
I don't know a lot of people that liked it, to be honest.
I can tell you that Game Revolution gave it 100,
Wow.
and I can tell you all other people gave it low scores. It's all in the 50s and 60s. You know, IGN gave it a 60, Joystick gave it a 60, Game Informer 50, stuff like that. I want to see GameSpot. You know, that's going to be like a 10.
10 out of 10. Game of the Year.
70. Wow. Getting crazy. So it's a free game. It's a colorful game. They try to put a story to it, which I remember being really dumb. They were like, what is it, a crane and a fish? To like the crane and the fish are in love but can never live in the same world. Or they try to make it a little bit too deep, and that's, I think, was one of the biggest mistakes. They should have just been like, look at this really pretty game. It's a fish and a crane based off like Chinese lore or something. Just
it's like they're like representative of like lovers or something.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure it's based off some folklore story, but as it stands, it looks like one of those games that's really pretty but then gets really boring. But again, it's free. You might as well try it out.
You might as well give it a shot, unless you're a closed-minded motherfucker. Also, that comes on the PS3 and PS Vita. On the PS3, you're getting
Rain. Do you know what this is?
I like remember it, but
I remember wanting to play it and considering buying it, and then it just came out with like average to negative reviews saying like it's an interesting concept, but it's kind of just dull, boring, and slow.
So like the concept of dating you.
Oh, you got me.
I did get you.
Essentially the thought is, I want to get this accurate. I'm gonna make this up because it's got a cool kind of. It's basically a kid is invisible and no one can see him, but so like the rain bounces off him, so that's the one time he's visible. So every time you go in a place like under an awning that doesn't have rain, he turns invisible.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sounds like this kid's life is not ideal.
I don't think it is, but he does find a girl that's just like him apparently.
Oh,
And that's the whole game. I think is chasing after this girl, and there's like there's like rain monsters or something coming at you,
make love,
just in the pouring wet rain. And
or is it not that type of game?
I hope it's not because it's a Japanese. Oh, it is Japanese, so you never know where it's gonna go.
That's wise words from Stephen Neal there. It's Japanese. You never know where it's going to go.
Did you see the problem with Fire Emblem recently? I don't think it's the Fire Emblem if it's like another one. Isn't there like a second one coming out like Fate or something?
That's what it's called in Japan.
Oh, okay. There's like I don't know if you saw this or not that. There's one because you know how like gay marriage is legal in it now?
Yeah.
Not legal in the game, but it can happen in the game.
It was illegal, now it's legal.
I guess there's a female character that seems to like other female characters, but she's afraid to talk to them, and so the protagonist like gives her a potion that just turns everyone, all females, to look like males.
Mm-hmm.
So then she realizes she can like talk to them or whatever. So it's kind of this joke. It's supposed to be this huge joke, but there was a mistranslation on Tumblr. Like someone just read it wrong and posted, and they said it was like homophobic conversion therapy that they're pushing on people. And so people like they're trying to turn all the gay characters straight, and that's why they made them like I don't know. It became this whole thing, and eventually I don't know if it was Kotaku or whoever came out with like like one of their Japanese translators who actually knows how to read Japanese, and it's like no, that's not what this is. This is
you're all dumb.
Basically, he just broke it down. And he's like, no, it's here. He's like, here's the video. I edited it for you. It's very cheeky. It's just making a joke. And then the first comment was just like, let's all just remember this is a Japanese game. Weird things happen and move on.
Yeah, exactly.
It's how you can explain any Japanese game. It's like, it's just Japanese. Just get over it.
They do weird, like, there's a whole game based around pigeons dating each other. I mean,
A hugely successful game.
Yes,
about pigeons dating each other.
And they're in high school.
I can't believe that game worked.
I mean, game of the year. I played it.
I mean, you gotta like. I want the developer. Like the developer's gotta be one of two people, right? He's gotta be the guy who's like was seriously invested in that game. Is like, I want to know how pigeons think. I want to know how pigeons fall in love with each other.
It's just like watch pigeons for years.
Or he was literally like, I'm gonna make the dumbest game ever and see if people are dumb enough to buy it. And then he's just laughing at everyone that just made him like a millionaire for buying this game.
He should have known that people are 100% dumb enough to buy it. Has he ever seen the world?
If you make something dumb enough, people will buy it. Like the dude on Kickstarter who said he was just going to make potato salad, and they gave him $10,000. Like he was just like,
yeah.
Give me $50, and he ended up raising 10,000, and then he had like a potato con, and like all these. But he gave it all to charity, so it's like it's fine in the end. But he literally just like people would give their money to stupid things.
Is it fine in the end, Neil? Is it fine?
It must have been really good potato salad. I don't know.
What is wrong with this world? People getting mad at Fire Emblem, for God's sake.
Oh, man. People not liking The Witcher's Red Baron Quest?
I mean, that's completely justifiable. Lastly, on your releases, you got Geometry Wars 3 coming out for the PlayStation Vita.
I wish that was coming to the PS4.
Include it as a free game. Yeah, me too. I like Geometry Wars, but...
I feel it's weird that's going straight to Vita.
Well, there's one out for the PS4, but it's not free.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Okay, man.
But you forgot this game, Steve, that I managed to look up and find. Why is it? Oh, that was, I think, released on the PS3. It's called Toro. Do you want to guess what Toro is about?
Toro. It's about a bull.
Yes.
Oh, I'm good.
It's a bullfighting simulator.
Well, oh, that sounds fun, actually.
It's just going to be you killing an animal like over and over again.
Could I have the time of my life, though?
You may with this game, Toro, and I couldn't tell you anything about the fact that it's a bullfighting simulator developed by Rec Technology SL. That's all I got. Now
Well, it sounds good to me, man.
I want to look up gameplay. I want to see this baby.
I'm gonna move on to our news topics here. Or
You go on to the news topics. Oh man, wait, but look at this game. It looks official. It looks like you're really gonna kill a boar. Get to change the colors of your character.
I am going to kill a boar.
Get to. Oh boy, look at this baby. This looks like the dumbest, absolute dumbest game I've ever seen in my life. You will have the time of your life with this game. You get to be the bull.
Oh yes.
Oh, it's like a mini game. It's like shock put or something. You like line up and hit the guy and see how far you can hit him.
Neil,
we can move on.
I wanted to start topics, but you wrote the topics, so I don't know what this means.
Oh, yeah, tricked you. All right, so someone raised a question that I think would be really, really cool. And since Shadow of Mordor and Batman, the Arkham series, are both by WB Games and whatnot, and publishers always, connect developers, blah, 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 whatever. And they were saying, wouldn't it be really cool if the Shadow of Mordor Nemesis system was in Batman?
Okay.
So I want your thoughts on that. I guess I'll go first. And my thought is that, like, I would love it. I would absolutely love it.
Well,
you love a semi piece. Well, here's why. Here's the thoughts where like people like it's Shadow of Mordor. If you don't know, the thought is that the AI will adapt to you. So like, let's say you fight one orc and you burn him in a fire, but he runs away. He then will be afraid of fire if you ever see him again. Mm-hmm. If an orc kills you, he will probably be promoted, get more abilities, and then he will be tougher to take down next time. And it kind of and it's always dynamic. If you die, like other orcs will fight each other and gain power. They'll merge clans. Like all this cool stuff goes on in the background. I thought it was one of the best systems in a long time. Very complex. It makes the game just really fun to play. And people are saying that should be in Batman. That when you're fighting a bunch of thugs, if a thug kills you, he should be like upgraded a little bit,
mm-hmm.
And then he'll like kind of almost the same, basically the same way because you fight a bunch of thugs, they're all nameless and the thing. It would make the AI a lot cooler in the game, essentially. And so I think that's a cool idea. I see it's not. You'd have to switch things around and can't exactly just pick up one system and put in another and it works perfectly. But what do you think now that since I haven't played the game and you actually have played the game?
I'd be fine with the system going in there, but it'd be hard to implement it for a few reasons. One, you don't die as much as you do in Shadow of Mordor, for sure. Like, just like based on the fact that you're Batman, Yeah. Like you're like going up against thugs, you should beat the thugs. If you do die, it's normally, in like a boss fight or like you screw up on the puzzle or whatever. So you'd have to like kind of like make every combat scenario a little harder. So I guess in that regard, like you'd have to change something. You'd have to also like most of like the combat that they want you to do in Batman is just like picking off people around a room. So I don't know, like you don't always want to get into open combat. So the chances for you to die in open combat are less. And then just I don't know how it would work. Like this is just like a universe thing because like there's all different kinds of thugs. Like there's Two-Face's thugs, Harley Quinn's thugs, Scarecrow's thugs. Like they're all like following different people. So would you have to like in this game? I'm not sure if it would work just because they like how would they be rising through the ranks? Would there be a nemesis system for each boss?
Well, if you remember, there was war chiefs, and each chief had his own lieutenants.
Yeah, they could do the war chief,
and so it would have to be like that. It would be a little more. It wouldn't be as free flowing, but it would be like you would take out one war chief. But the problem with Shadow of Mordor is like, I get what you're saying that. You do die a lot more in that game because that's a game that you can get way in over your head very easily. You just like fall off a platform and you're surrounded by like 50 orcs and one of them is really powerful. And Batman is more about like sneaking, but then and like Shadow of Mordor had some of that, but not really. It was really
and Batman's like you're like evasive. You know what I mean? Like if you get into like a battle, you can always like zip line out of the way and like avoid it and then go back to picking them off. There was none of that in Shadow of Mordor. Like when you were in battle, it was really hard to get away from it.
Yeah, that's right. Like I remember many times just making a run for it, and you're just running like in the plains, and you just have like 20 orcs chasing you.
Yeah,
Just for like they would never stop, and you just run forever. But yeah, so that's a good point. Like it's Batman is definitely more stealth focused, and there is a lot of fighting, and a lot of fun combos and stuff like that. Well, Shadow of Mordor, like
obviously wouldn't be against having it put in, but I will say in terms of side content, Batman also blows Shadow of Mordor out of the water with how much there is to do. So it's not like Shadow of Mordor without the Nemesis system would have felt really empty.
Yeah.
In Batman, it would just kind of be like an extra plus. Like, oh, like I'm glad this is in here too, but I also have all this other stuff to do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Shadow of Mordor, when you think about it, it is a really empty game. It's just
it was the first attempt. I really like that game. It's the first attempt. They're obviously going to have another one because it was so commercially like well received. So
absolutely.
I'm sure they'll flush that one out a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, just based on all the content in Batman, there's almost too much to do in Batman. It's overwhelming.
See, but it would be so cool. I mean, you're agreeing to this, but it would be so cool if they had like everything in Batman was still there. They didn't take anything out.
Yeah, and they just had it.
And like if you killed a guy, or a guy killed you, and then he just like stood over your body and like laughed. Like my favorite thing of Shadow of Mordor was like the orcs like taunt you.
Yeah,
after they kill you, they just like make fun of you and stuff like that, and like some of them are creepy. I think just that alone would be really cool. I get their thugs and like they're not even close to being on the level as Batman. But if every now and then like a really tough thug came out,
well, you run into like bruiser thugs and all that stuff. So there are bigger ones, but there's not when you're in Shadow of Mordor, you feel like any single one of those like Ulrics or orcs can kill you. You don't get that feeling in Batman. You know what I mean? If you're punching like a normal thug, you literally have to like let the controller down and just let him punch you to death if it's just one-on-one.
Yeah, I mean that is the case, and it's a matter of if you die in Batman, it's more just frustration that you let something easy kill you. In Shadow of Mordor, you get like this vengeful hatred towards this one orc that is now like leveling up because you died.
Yeah,
like I would almost always go out of my way to kill those guys again. There was one guy that killed me like 3 times in a row. I couldn't do it. He ended up becoming like a war chief. Because I could not kill this one guy, and he just kept killing me over and over again. And he just leveled all the way up. But yeah, so I don't know. We both kind of agree it would be a cool system. Obviously not easily implemented, and Batman's cool enough.
Yeah, I mean they'd have to have some tweaks. You got to remember, basically by the time that the Nemesis system was probably implemented, they were almost probably done with Batman.
Yeah, I mean that's probably true.
So it might have, and it's not like those like they're both published by WB, but it's Rocksteady probably had no idea what was going on over at the other office. I don't know which dev team made Shadow of Mordor, but was it the dev that made Arkham City? That would make sense because that was a different dev, not Arkham City, Arkham Origins.
Arkham Origins, I'm not sure. Let me look it up
because that would make sense just based on the WB or whatever.
I mean, I hope they're making it like right now. It was Monolith Productions. Additional work by Behavior Interactive. Well, that's for PS3. Monolith, I'm checking them out now. They seem to have made a lot. Guardians of Middle-earth, Gotham City Imposters, Fear 2, Project Origin, Condemned 2, Condemned, Fear, The Matrix Online. That's like the most recent ones.
Okay.
Which I don't think any of them were super huge. But I hope right now they're working on.
Speaking of devs, though, what happened to this guy that snuck into the dev office?
So this is just kind of cool. There was this guy who, big fan of Digital Extremes, which is a Canadian-based company, and they do Warframe, which I believe is that free game that's like on every PS4 that you can just pay for, or not pay for, just download. And so he I don't know, he's a really big fan of it, and for whatever reason he just wanted to visit the office. And so he just kind of had to guess where it was for whatever reason. He just kind of walked there, and I guess he saw a character statue in a window that he recognized. He was like, "Oh, that must be the office."
Yeah.
And so he some guy was walking in the door, and he just followed him behind him, and the guy just held the door open for him, so he just walked in. And then he just walked around. No one talked to him, so he just sat in a chair. And then he just get up and move someplace else now and then. And then I guess he was sitting in a room, and the lunch lady came in and was like, "Oh, by the way, lunch is on," whatever, so you can come and get it. So he just gets up and gets in line and just gets food, so he just gets a free meal out of it. And then he just sits down with a bunch of developers, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, so like, what's going on? What are you guys working on? You know, I'm just doing what I like," and just basically just doing random banter. And one guy and some devs like, "Oh, we're working on this game called Keystone, which has not been announced, which no one knows about, and it's basically a card game." So again, they're making another Hearthstone game, I think, for Warframe. So everyone's making these mobile card games now, and so they basically just like explain this game to him that no one knows about, and that he just like, all right, and then he goes, I guess it became like 5 o'clock and people started to leave, so he just kind of walked out with them, and then he was like, oh, I'll see you tomorrow, and everyone was just like, oh yeah, goodbye, have a good day, and then he just walked away. Then he just went on Reddit and posted it, which I think is just, and the company was responded pretty cool too, and they were like, hey, we're Canadians, everyone's welcome in the door, we're not going to turn anyone away.
Yeah.
And then, but they were like, trespassing isn't actually okay, but we understand. We were just a fan, stuff like that. I just think
That's
cool.
Such a weird story, though.
It's such a weird story. I think, how cool would that be though? Like, I mean, it's Warframe and it's a new game, so like I don't care about. But what if someone just like walked in? Like, what if someone walked in like a Sony office in like Japan or whatever, and just found like the Last Guardian and broke that? Like, that's like what this could have been. Like, could have broken a huge game.
Be executed.
I feel like the Last Guardian, like, is just locked in like a vault. Like games like that are just locked away, and you just can't get to them. But I kind of wish it was a better game. But I like the fact that it's so many people are now doing card games. Like, I need more Hearthstones to piss me off at all times.
I love Hearthstone, man, so much.
I'm hating it. Every now and then, like, this happened before where I stopped playing it for like a week or 2 weeks, but then I got back into it in a huge way.
It's so good. Like, it's just a constant force in my life.
It's just, I have not gotten, like, I think in probably a month, let's say a month, I'm going to throw that out there, I may have gotten one card out of all the packs that I've actually used. A lot of them I'm just crafting myself with dust.
Yeah.
But every time I play the arena, I don't get dust anymore.
I hate the arena.
And so, like, every time I do anything, and then, like, I get cards, I'm like, all right, these are all for the priest or the warrior. I don't want any of them. And so, like, I break them down, but they're 5 dust, so it's not even worth it. And so I just need one pack to be really good. Like, I haven't gotten a card for the hunter in months, easily. The one, like, or the rogue. I don't even think the mage. Like, I'm getting them all for the priest, the warrior, and the paladin, repeatedly. I'll even take the warlock or shaman at this point.
Yeah, I know.
You know, but so that's Hearthstone. I mean, we'll talk about that later. But I just thought the story was, I like quirky stories like that. I like finding those weird ones that they're just kind of fun. Just some guy was like, I'm just gonna stumble in and break some new video game.
Oh, Neil, why don't you find your nearest video game developer and become a national story? Why don't you make something of yourself, Neil?
I think this guy is like, who is this guy? I think he's the king of Reddit. Maybe he was doing it all to be on the front page of Reddit. Something I know, actually not the front page, but got on the front page for 24 hours. That felt pretty great.
Well, yeah,
Final Fantasy 14. Not the full Reddit. That's like the little disclaimer, not the real Reddit.
Anyone can get to the front page of a small Reddit, Neil.
Small Reddit, it's got like, I don't know how many.
I could post a picture of my ball sack and get to the front page of Reddit.
First, any naked pictures gets to the front page of Reddit.
Well, yeah, and my ball sack's a nice ball sack. All right, Neil. You know what was this weekend, right?
The 3rd of July. The day everyone really goes out.
The day after that. What was the day after that?
That would be the 4th of July.
Yes, the 4th of July. So in honor of America.
Just America.
We have picked what we think are the most American games. Neil, what's your most American game?
Probably right now would have to be women's FIFA because they just won the World Cup.
Yes.
And spanked Japan.
Yes.
And now the world has to call football soccer because America owns it.
That's how that works.
That's how that works. That's how the name is decided. No, my most American game that I think I've played and own has to be not Medal of Honor. Oh my God, no. I guess that is.
Medal of Honor.
Call of Duty
Okay,
Modern Warfare.
that
And,
makes more sense.
and the reason why is because it's almost propaganda to the point
Yeah,
where it's like the White House is on fire and there's Russians in it and you have to like fight through the White House and you come up out of the ground and you see it burning and like and even Modern Warfare 3 where like you're fighting around the Statue of Liberty, like it's so obviously patriotic to the point where it's humorous, but it's still a really fun game. Like it's all about America.
America.
And like even the bad guy like was still American, which I kind of liked, so it wasn't
American.
just like there's so much America in this game. It was
tons
so
of-
Ghost was so American they spawned a whole new game, Ghosts, and it was terrible.
Jesus Christ, ghosts.
They took one cool character who was really, really cool, and they just ruined it.
Yep. They just took his mask and was like, yeah, we'll make a game about
They were
it.
like, there's this one mask, and they call him Ghost, and he's this really cool guy. Let's make a whole game about really cool guys, and we're all going to be really cool American guys.
We'll add dogs,
We'll add a dog.
which was actually a great decision.
If you add a dog to any game, it's a great decision. No matter the game.
Dogs are popular. So my most American game is Hyperdimension Neptunia. Now, other than like the obvious choices of like Madden or like MLB The Show, which are real American, I'm gonna have to say Duke Nukem Forever, which was the really really bad one that came out in like 2007. Just because like Duke Nukem is America, like big truck, big guns, constant sex jokes. You know, just he embodies everything that we all love about America.
Every bad thing about America rolled up into one.
And into a really bad game. It all fits. So, yeah, Duke Nukem Forever is my most American game.
I never played the original Duke Nukem.
Me either.
I only played like the demo of Duke Nukem Forever. Everything I heard is like Duke Nukem, the original, was like kind of funny and like over the top and fun at the time. And then Forever came out, and everyone's like, "This is just really sexist and
it sucks.
like racist and just like terrible everything."
Times changed, Neil. Who knew?
Who knew that would happen? But it was clearly that's one of the most American games for sure because it's just in your face, and that's what America likes to do: get in everyone's faces with a lot of food.
Face. All right, so that's all we have except for the what have you been playing, Neil?
I'll get this out of the way so you can rant about Batman for a good long while, but Hearthstone, it's not even worth talking about. We already talked about it. Not having fun with it anymore, but I still play it every day.
Of course, you got to get your daily quests.
Which I've gotten every quest. I keep like re-rolling them, and I always forget what it is, but it's like the priest and paladin, warrior and priest. I get like those same. I get the 4 times in a row I've gotten a quest that has involved characters I never play as. It's one of those times we just get really unlucky like that. But I'm working on.
That's when you have to get a casual mode and just like hit that up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working on the other ones. It's like play 25 more minions. Like that's just takes time. It's easy enough. And the other one, I just got like a rogue one, so I'm just gonna have fun with the rogue. Drive Club, I'm still playing. I'm holding off on buying it because I'm just playing other things, and I'm gonna play a lot of Rocket League and stuff like that. But I still really like it. I'll get home and like I'll just play like a race kind of. Online's still bothering me because people are just playing it like bumper cars, and they need to fix that in some way because it's not that kind of game.
They can't fix anything, Neil.
I know, right? That's gonna be a huge problem. I'm just amazed I can play online. And then the big game is still Final Fantasy XIV, which I learned today. I've been playing over 50 hours, and the way I know that is because when you start, you have it's a little leaf icon, like a little sprout next to your name, and it means you're a newbie. And I thought it went away when I was probably around like I don't know, like level 35 or something. And so I was like, oh, it stays until you go to level 35. And then I saw on the Reddit today someone posted, you have that icon until you've played 48 hours of game time. And so I was just like, I can't believe I've played that much time. Like I'm probably pushing 60 hours now.
Oh God! Yeah.
And which is it's so much fun. Like Steve, today I found a document. Some guy made a Google document, 10 pages, all about my class and the best way to utilize it. And it's sad because he gets into the mathematical equations of damage, and I understand what he's talking about.
You're like, yes, this guy speaks the truth.
It's just, oh man, it's so much fun. Like that's why I was late to the podcast because there's daily quests that you have to do, and you get extra XP and stuff like for it. And so I was like, all right, this is gonna be short and easy because you can only redo ones you've already done. So I'm like, all right, it's gonna be run through it very fast. And then I unlocked one last night that's a long one, and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna do this today, so I didn't do it. But I unlocked it, and I guess that allowed it put it in the rotation, a random rotation. So I ended up doing that one. So that's why I had no idea what it was doing, and I was just taking forever with it. But it was so much fun. It's man, you would have so much fun. I gotta get you into MMO somehow. Let me correct that.
I have no interest in ever.
I was about to say, let me correct that. I'm never playing another MMO. I'm not getting. I have no itch to play any other game. This one is just. It fits me. It's very story oriented, which is a lot of fun. My class, the one I use, I find a lot of fun because it's a difficult one to use. You can't just stand there and hit buttons. You have to like. It's position based, so like some attacks have to be from the behind the guy. Some guys have to be from like the side, and so I'm constantly like running around doing stuff like that. And I don't know. I'm getting way too addicted to it, and it's what I plan on doing the second this is done.
Good.
And besides that, I'm trying to think of anything else that crazy happened next. I feel like something insane went down. I guess not. I want to hear about Batman. I know you got stuff to talk about. Have you beaten it yet or no?
No, I'm at 90% completion in the main story.
Okay.
That's like not even close because I'll be going through all the side stuff and finishing that up. It's good. I mean, I don't really want to say too much because like the story is pretty good and I don't want to spoil it for anyone. I did find out who the Arkham Knight is.
Ooh, don't say anything, but not that you would, but
I have figured it out. It did surprise me.
Okay.
So that's good, and I'm pretty in tune with Batman. You know, not Batman like lore, I guess, or Batman stories. So it was interesting. The story is very very cinematic. It's really well done. I mean, like all the voice acting is so good in that game. Yeah, I mean, I'm just having fun traversing the city and like taking things down as they pop up. It's one of those games where like they'll be like, hey, like I know you're on your way to do this, but like something's happening over here. Do you want to go check it out? And it turns out to be like a long quest line. So
from this is just me personally. In all the Batman games, I've never cared about the side quests.
Okay.
Like they always seem. I don't know. Maybe if I took my time with it more, but I like what you just said. Those never distracted me.
Okay.
Like they're like the police scanner or whatever goes off. It's like, hey, look, this is going on over here. I just like fly past it. Like I don't care. I'm trying to do the main story. Have you noticed any improvement, or would you say it's the same thing? Like
Well,
if I didn't like it in the earlier games, am I still not going to like it, or is it kind of more in depth this time?
Probably not. I mean, again, like I love Batman and I love
Yeah.
all the villains. So doing the side stories is how you see the villains. Like in this one, like the Two-Face storyline is like he keeps robbing banks and you get calls and like you go and you like stop the bank robbery and I'm like I've done 7 of 8, so on the last one I'm guessing I'll have my battle at Two-Face. Like those boss battles at like the main villains, so it's like always the stuff I remember. So that's why I always do the side missions because it gets to your it gets to your end. I always love the Riddler missions because I think they're really cool. They're always puzzle based and you have to like take the picture to solve the puzzle and stuff like that. Yeah, but like if you're saying like you don't get distracted by those, I mean probably not. The reason that I always go out of my way, like I was saying, is because I just like all the villains. Like there's what's his name? Not Pyro. I always call him Pyro. Firefly's in this one, and he's like setting fire to buildings, and like you'll just like see like no one will tell you anything, but you'll like see smoke in the distance, and like you'll go over there and you'll see a building on fire, like, and then you get to like interact with Firefly, who's like a really cool villain who like has like wings and a flamethrower. It's like stuff like that.
I swear I thought he was a Spider-Man villain. I guess not.
There's someone very similar that is a Spider-Man villain.
Or did I kill in Origins? Don't you fight Firefly?
I never played Origin.
It was it Spider-Man? I fought Firefly. I know I did it at some point. So he's in something. He's also there's like a Firefly type character in Metal Gear Solid 3, if that matters. He's like an astronaut that for whatever reason gets caught on fire and then just likes to fly around in a jetpack and shoot fire at you. I don't know, but go on. So, do you like the side quests? Would you say they're better or worse than the Red Baron side quest?
They are better because I actually care about what's going on, but that also has to do with me just liking Batman. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like when Two-Face is talking about how he misses Rachel, and talks about like I have a background for that, so like I'm interested in it, but like you know, as far as narrative goes, I'm sure that you would think that the Bloody Baron or whatever is better, but I have to say the voice acting in Batman is the best voice acting I've seen in a very very long time.
Really?
Like
'Cause people
it's
say that about The
really
Witcher.
good. Yeah, well, no, I thought Geralt's voice acting. I know he's supposed to be stoic. I thought it was awful. Like his inner monologue pisses me off so much.
You
Like
know, yeah.
Batman does that, but Batman doesn't even like he does it like in his head. Like Geralt would say it out loud. Like he would like you would see his lips moving. He's like, someone came through here a little bit loud. But like Batman does that. But Batman does it because he's like logging it, and then like Alfred will pop up and answer him. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like that inner monologue would piss me off. I'm like, shut up! I know what I'm looking at.
The the worst is at I don't know if you played it enough, but whenever it would rain for probably at least 5 minutes, and then no, I'll say like a minute, and then Gerald would just be like, "It's raining," or "It looks like rain," and it's like been raining
Yeah.
for 60. Like,
Oh, looks like rain.
yeah, and like when I first heard his voice, I was like, "This is the main protagonist." That's what and so I was kind of thrown off by that too, but I thought the thing that impressed me with The Witcher is with the voice acting and side quests is like every single character
Yeah.
has like a
It's a
yeah,
big world, but everyone.
yeah, and so like when you get to other places, they all have different accents and they all talk differently, and like
Yeah,
someone who's higher up will sound different than someone who's like a peasant, so stuff like that. But I do know Batman is always I've always liked the voice acting in it, like
it's just like they just took the guy from the animated series and they just were like, hey, like just do our video game. And the villain, like the Arkham Knight's something special, but that's also because he used like a robotic voice scrambler.
right.
But like Gordon is really good. It's Gordon. Did you watch Breaking Bad?
No.
Okay, well, I mean, you wouldn't know the actor then, but he's an actor from Breaking Bad in this. Um, and like there's a couple other famous people. Troy Baker is someone, but I forget. He like comes in.
Is he not the Joker? He was the Joker
He
in
was the
Origins.
Joker in Origins, but like there's some Joker flashbacks, but that's all Mark Hamill still.
Okay. I think it's so weird it's Mark Hamill.
Yeah, I know. It's just so funny. It's Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
But like he is like the animated Joker, so and he does a really good job with it. Um,
I wonder who Troy Baker is. Well, I don't know. He's in everything, so it's hard to get a game that he's
I'm
not
trying to
in.
remember. Is he the Penguin?
I wonder.
I'm gonna look it up. Arkham Knight.
See, I bet I know I'm gonna play it eventually. Like it's a game I'm not gonna.
Oh, Troy Baker. Turns out he is the Arkham Knight. Duh.
Oh, that totally makes sense.
But like his voice is scrambled for most of it. So when it is revealed, you find out that it's Troy Baker, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. So I totally will play it eventually. Like I know I will. It's just a matter of when. When it's a good enough price. It might be a long time from now. But it's one of those games that I know I enjoy the story because I like the city story, Arkham City. Origins was like whatever, but I was interested in it. Like, I always finish the campaign. Like I'll say that because I was interested enough to do that. I just once I finished it, I was like, I don't really care about flying around the city anymore.
There are some really good twists in the story, better than the first two.
Okay, and I don't know, maybe I didn't check out the side quests enough before, but it sounds like they have interesting storylines and characters. So it's something
The Riddler side quest in this one is very good. If you're not gonna do any of them, I say at least do the Riddler one. It's really really good. So
that's like the only thing I remember the Riddler in the old one is just he used to have the most annoying like trophies scattered about that you had to find a way
yeah,
to
they still do
somehow.
trophies, but that's not part of his quest. His quest
Okay.
is like he's captured Catwoman. I'm not like spoiling anything that's happens within like the first 10 minutes of the game. He's captured Catwoman, and like you have to go and solve 9 riddles across the city, and each riddle gives you a key, and then each key goes towards unlocking Catwoman to save her. So it's pretty fun, and like it involves some of that like dual play stuff I was talking about, where like you fight as Catwoman and Batman together, and you can like switch between the characters. So like
Okay.
that's cool. The Penguin one is worth doing just because you get to fight as Nightwing in that one, and Nightwing's awesome to use. He's really fast with his 2 sticks. And then the Two-Face one, you get to fight with Robin. So like that's like 3 of the 8 side quest lines. So I'd say that if you're gonna do any, I'd say do those just so you can see the other characters and fight as them and get a feel for it. So
Okay. Yeah. No, that's cool.
I
That's
will say though, like I'm 90% done. Like the whole thing about this one is like, oh, Batman dies. Batman hasn't died yet, so like I really don't know what's gonna happen. So I'm looking forward to getting back in there and finishing it up tonight.
you think you're gonna finish it tonight?
Yeah, I mean I got it up to 90, and like I got to the point where all the side missions are locked, which pretty much means
Oh, okay.
I have to beat it until they'll be able to be unlocked. So
Yeah, you gotta beat it so tomorrow we can play some Rocket League
yeah,
later.
I'm gonna beat it tonight. I mean, like it's probably 2 missions, I'd say.
Okay.
90%, and then I'll probably start doing some side stuff right immediately after it. But
All right. Well, then we should probably get out of here so you can get to
yeah,
that.
around 8 o'clock already. So all right, thanks for tuning in to the 24th episode of the Qualified Gamer Guys podcast. You can find this podcast. We try to post it every Tuesday, but it'll be up every week on our YouTube channel. And if you're here, we'd love if you would subscribe. You can also get a little notification if you follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/qualifiedggs. You can follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/qualifiedgamerguys. Once I am done working, which is next week, I will try and stream more often for everyone out there because I will have less
Yeah.
obligations.
And we'll probably be streaming
We'll,
Rocket
we'll
League,
stream
I'm sure.
Rocket League for sure, so you can look out for that. If you like the music in the beginning, head over to soundcloud.com/gearheadedm. That's our friend who made that music. He's got a lot more music that sounds just like that and might even be better. Who knows?
Maybe.
Could be. Hard to beat. So Neil, do you have anything that you'd like to say to the people?
No, that's all.
Neil's a man of few words.
That couch looks comfy. I like throwing out inside jokes that only Steve gets on a podcast.
Well, only 5 people listen anyway, so.
Yeah, so.
All right. Thanks for I always do that in like the last 2 seconds. Thanks for tuning in to the Qualified Gamer Guys podcast. We will see you next week. Batman Forever. It was a bad movie, but goodbye, everyone.